All right. The recommendation motion is to nominate Brandon Rutherford for Vice Chairman of the Madison County Board of Education for the 2021 calendar year. Do I have a motion for this, please?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, the motion's been made by Mrs. Brock, second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any opposition? All right, motion carries. Congratulations, Mr. Rutherford. 2D on our agenda is to cease nominations and elect the vice chairman. So on this agenda, we are going to cease the nominations and elect a vice chairman. The recommendation motion is to cease the nominations for the 2021 vice chairman and that Brandon Rutherford be elected by acclamation. Do I have a motion to cease nominations?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, the motion's been made by Mrs. Cobb, second by Mrs. Brock. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any nays? All right, motion carries. Congratulations to Mrs. Cobb and Mr. Rutherford. Looking forward to working with you both next year. All right, so after this, I now turn the meeting over to Mrs. Cobb as our new chairman of the Madison County School Board. Congratulations, take it over.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. I do want to thank you, Mrs. Burford. You have been an incredible leader over this last year. I think we can all agree that it's been very challenging, and you have done a great job of leading this team. So thank you so much for that. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Put that in there. So, Mr. Rutherford, would you read our vision statement for us, please?
I'd be happy to. Madison County Schools, in partnership with the community, strives to equip educators and students with the skills to lead by example, develop and speak with a unique voice, and explore their academic curiosity to make a positive impact on our community and world.
All right, great. Thank you very much. All right, next on our agenda, we have some recognition, and I think Dr. Gillum, this is for you to do.
Yes, let me get my mic unmuted there. Absolutely. Thank you. January is School Board Recognition Month, and as Kentucky observes that recognition month, in January, the Madison County School District joins in the celebration. Beth Brock, Samantha Burford, Lori Cobb, Becky Cole, and Brandon Rutherford are among more than 850 school board members in the state's 171 local school districts being recognized this month for their service. Our Madison County School Board members, elected by the people, are responsible for our community's most precious resource and the key to its future, our children and their educational opportunities. At a time when state and federal funding continues to shrink, our school board members haven't flinched in the face of the challenges or shied away from their responsibilities. They serve with minimal compensation and maximum effort. They spend hours reading materials and digging into reports to prepare for long, detailed meetings. And state law requires them to obtain training in finance, ethics, leadership, and other topics. Our community can be very proud of this team of our local school board members, and I'm proud to be their partner in striving for education excellence for our children. It's my hope that the people in our community will take a few moments this month to thank them and to learn more about the work of our school board members who bear the tremendous responsibility of ensuring the long-term success of our school system and our community's children. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Gillum. I know I don't want to speak for everybody, but I know I'm speaking for everybody. It is a privilege and an honor to serve the Madison County Schools. And so thank you for those kind words. So, all right, so next on our agenda is we need to approve our consent agenda. So let me just read to you real quick what's on that. And just a reminder too, to our viewers and those watching from home, we do get our agendas and all of our packet information about a week ahead of time. So we've all had an opportunity to review the information and ask whatever questions that we may have. So, but here's our consent agenda. Let me read you what we're going to be approving with this. The minutes of our December 10th meeting, our claims, which are payments that Mr. Woods has made, the superintendent's personnel actions, leaves of absence, the board's participation and actual expenses for the 2021 membership and events that are affiliated with the Kentucky School Board Association, the National School Board Association, and the Kentucky Association of School Administrators. And then finally, our Madison County Board of Education 2021 schedule of meetings. So we have our 2021 meeting schedule out there. Are there any questions from anybody on any of these items? No questions? Okay. All right. Then I need a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So we have motion made by Mr. Rutherford and a second by Mrs. Brock. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? All right. Great. All right. So moving on. Our next agenda item is to declare our technology surplus, and we have our technology director of technology, Mr. Jacob Cecil, with us. Mr. Cecil, you're up.
Jacob, we wipe out all the hard drives, right, before we send them on to the recycler. And so it's perfectly safe on our end.
All right, great. All right, no questions for Mr. Cecil? All right, so I need a motion to declare the technology surplus as presented.
I'll make the motion.
All right, second?
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Mrs. Burford and a second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? No? All right. All right, so moving on. Our next agenda item is to approve our 2021-2022 school calendar. Last meeting, Mr. Neely and the calendar committee presented us two different options. So Mr. Neely's here to talk to us about what he's proposing. Mr. Neely.
Well, hello. I apologize for your t-shirt. When you're quarantined to the bedroom, there's not a whole lot of options. The only change is there is no election day, November 2nd. So that will now be a day of instruction. So the students' last day of school will be May 24th. That's the only discrepancy from the draft one that you all received a couple months ago. Everything else is the same.
Mr. Neely, was this the one that the staff voted on and liked the most?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The input from the emails and the committee received was they did like the professional development. That's why we have so many PD days at the beginning. So actually, the teachers will start August the 9th, as you can see, opening day, but students will not attend till the 18th. So we've got several days where teachers will be able to get together and do some collaboration, and hopefully we'll be full go by then. I mean, we've said hopefully for a long time, but that might be the first time that everybody's good to go, and we may be really, really busy at that time. So it will be good for our teachers and our principals to have them in the building there the first couple of weeks before we start.
Perfect. All right. Are there any other questions for Mr. Neely? No? Okay. So let me just recap real quick for our viewers and of what this calendar entails. So our start date, and Mr. Neely, double check me here and make sure I haven't missed anything. Start date is August the 18th for students.
That's correct.
Fall break, October 11th through the 15th.
That's right.
Spring break, April 4th through the 8th.
Yes.
And students' last day is now May the 24th due to that election day. Is that correct?
You got it. Perfect.
All right. Awesome. Okay. Well, if we don't have any more questions, we need a motion to approve our 2021-2022 calendar as presented.
So moved.
All right. All right. So we have a motion by Mrs. Brock and a second by Mr. Rutherford. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? No. All right. Great. Okay. Thank you very much for that. All right. And so next we have our instruction report, and we have Dr. Amy Smith here to talk to us about reading recovery.
Hi, thank you so much for the opportunity to present an update on reading recovery as you have several years in a row. We're really grateful for that. I am somewhat new to Google Meets. I'm a straight up Zoom girl, so you are going to have to bear with me for 1 second and shout me out if you can't see what I think you're seeing. All right. So in your board packets, you should have received a copy of our annual site report, which is something I do every year at the end of the year. And in this one, we really described all of the data, not to mention the professional learning experiences and research endeavors of our teachers, as well as details about how we responded to COVID within reading recovery. But in addition, I want to point out that we did include data and details about the classroom, modified reading recovery classroom training model that Dr. Hunter helped us establish, for which we're so grateful. Tonight's focus is going to be quick and primarily data, but I'm happy to answer any questions as always about any aspect of reading recovery at the end. Obviously, the school closures caused us to not be able to do end of year data, but tonight I will share the data for fall students, entry and exit, for which we have a full data set. And additionally, we do have the number of kids we were able to serve. Our reading recovery teachers last year served 1,011 students in some capacity, which brings our total served by these teachers to 13,545 since 2005. As I've told this board many times, the very first question we ask every single year is how many students successfully exited, which means their reading performance was equivalent to or higher than grade level expectations. Last year, this is first round data only because it's all we have a complete set for. 80% of the students we served between fall and mid-year successfully exited reading recovery. As you can see from this chart, this exceeds state and national averages by 14 and 28% respectively. Clearly, we're thrilled with this and the fact that our students and our teachers outperformed both the state and the nation in reading recovery. However, as long as a single child in reading recovery is not completely successful, we're not satisfied. So after we got this data, we went child by child through every single child who was in that not successful category. There were 17 of them. I think I know almost all their names at this point. And we did a secondary analysis. And what we unearthed within that study was there was actually a hidden, very important outcome. And that is almost half of those children who were, their status category was not completely caught up. They ended their programs within 1 to 2 text levels of our average goal, of our benchmark for that grade level. This is really a positive aspect of our data because the research tells us that children that achieve that much progress and reach that level are very likely to continue progressing with much less intensive intervention and through classroom instruction. But I make a point of raising this because it is also a huge motivating factor for our teachers. as they have gone back and continue to study the individual student lesson records of kids who were unsuccessful at any level, they keep asking themselves, what could we have done different? And they continue also to apply their answer to that question to their current and future students. Because ultimately our goal is to help every single child completely catch up. One of the ways that we measure that did we catch them up, is through text reading level. In other words, the level of book they can read without any teacher support. This graph illustrates the increase in a child's text reading level from fall to mid-year for 3 student groups. Blue is reading recovery served in fall, who successfully exited. The gray line is a district text level, which was based on a national benchmark, and the orange line is a typical first grade progression. At the beginning of the year, as you can see, and is not surprising, our reading recovery students came in with a much lower text level than either comparison group. And yet, by the end of their program, which lasts between 12 and 20 weeks, the average for those students was exactly the same as a typical first grader and surpassed our national and district benchmark for what we hoped they would achieve. We know from the research on achievement gaps that the disparities continue to persist, not because kids don't make any progress. It's because when some interventions only help them make slow and minimal progress, this data clearly suggests that both the amount and speed of our students' progress in reading recovery is closing the gap. One more measure I'll show that also illustrates, perhaps even more powerfully than this, how quickly and that our kids progress and to what level is something called the OS total score. The OS total score is a statistic that combines scores from 6 literacy tasks into a single composite. So whereas the previous was just text level alone, this encompasses a range of tasks across literacy. The first 7 bars on this graph that you can see, this chart, are reading recovery kids in a school in Madison County. We have a school by school report just like this. At the bottom of each bar is their entry OS composite score, and at the top is the exit. On the far right-hand side is the same data for a typical first grader. So one thing you notice right away is, to no one's surprise, our kids come in far, far lower. But this chart also illustrates clearly what we mean when we say kids make accelerated maximal progress in reading recovery. Of the 7 students that you see here who we served last year in a Madison County school in the first round, 6 started far below the average and finished their programs with a higher OS total score than even the typical first grader. But I really wanted to put this in front of you tonight and celebrate this school and our program for this reason. We have seen in our national data that around 3 of 4 reading recovery students across the United States who enter reading recovery with an OS total score below a certain threshold are highly unlikely to exit successfully in 12 to 20 weeks. So 3 of 4 do not. In this school, 4 students entered in the fall with total scores at or below that threshold. And 3 of those students out of 4 exited. So in essence, what this data is telling you is Madison County teachers are flipping a really devastating national trend. And this is likely why we have so much robust data that year after year outpaces our comparisons. However, the data alone does not explain how. It shows you how good, it doesn't tell you how they do it. And I know I've talked to Ms. Brock many times. She always makes me talk to recovery teachers and see when she's in schools. They make it look easy and smooth and linear. It is none of those things. So one other thing I included in your board packet is the spring edition of the Journal of Reading Recovery. Last year, my Fayette County teacher leader colleagues and I submitted an article to the Reading Recovery Journal that described how our teachers here engaged in data analysis and applied that analysis to their practice over a 3-year period from 2016 to 2019. When we received notice, we were shocked. We didn't think it was getting through, but when we received notice that our manuscript was indeed accepted for publication, it contained reviewer feedback. And one of the reviewers, who is a incredibly highly respected literacy scholar, one of the reviewers said, "This is a story that must be shared and should be held up as an example for all reading recovery professionals." We are unbelievably proud that the work of our teachers in Madison County, in the middle of Kentucky, is being used as an example for our colleagues in 41 states and across Canada. Let me also say emphatically, though, and perhaps even more importantly than that, this is not just a reading recovery story. To us, it's a Madison County story. Reading recovery did not accomplish any of those good things in isolation. Our success here is, and our students' success is because of the collaboration between building administrators, classroom and special education teachers, our ELL staff, Family Resource Center staff, the paraeducators, and these parents. As well, none of this at all would be possible without the support of this board, Drs. Gillum and Hunter, Mr. Case, Mr. Reeser, technology, and everybody in finance who keeps me out of trouble all the time. So it is a privilege to get to share this with you all tonight. And please, on behalf of our teachers, students, and parents, as always, thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
You all know that this is one of those programs that, to me, is the most valuable in our county. To have the numbers that you all have reported with 80% success it's incredible. But even more incredible is the fact that you know those 14 or 17 students.
17, there's 17.
17. You know them, they're going to be successful because that's how you take it to heart. I've read over all these packets and I don't want to be repetitive, but I don't know if you all had the opportunity to read, and I'm just going to quote it because it kind of stopped me, because I'm a firm believer if we can get these students reading, it changes their trajectory of their lives. One of the reading recovery teachers wrote, "This project made me consider all aspects of what we do in reading recovery. Beyond helping students read and write, I hadn't thought about how life-changing that reading recovery is. Not only are children learning how to read and write, they are becoming confident, feel valued, and learn to trust school as a place that they will get the support they need to excel." That is, what else is there? I'm so proud. I'm so proud of the job that you and your team does. And I'm thankful on behalf of every student who comes through your all's presence. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
All right, anybody else have anything for Dr. Smith?
I just want to thank her too, because I read all the information this week and it is impressive. And I'm also impressed that people are using, well, I should say I'm impressed, but I would expect none less. But people are using you guys as the example. And it's like Beth said, I reiterate that. It's impressive. And thank you.
Thank you all so much. And in that report, about 2/3 of that is stuff our teachers did above and beyond what's expected. You know, they just keep on saying what else and what more. So I'm grateful for all of them and this board. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Smith, and your entire team. We are super proud of you. All right. All right. Next, typically at this time, we would have our construction report. But our architect, Tony Thomas, unfortunately, his mother passed away just a few days ago. So we want to make sure that we let Tony know how so very sorry we are for his loss, and that we're going to keep him and his family in our thoughts and prayers. And we just look forward to having him back when he's able. So that will move us on to Mr. Woods and our finance report.
Good evening.
Hello.
I'm going to switch to present now. All right, you should be able to see the bank reconciliation. If you can't, please let me know. As of December 31st, the district ended with a reconciled balance of $85,615,959.06. You can see this is considerably up compared to this time last year. We did have our bond sale for the Richmond ATC. That is a big portion of that balance as well. We do have capital outlay and FSBK, which are building funds, reserve building funds that we have at this point 2.5 years worth. Those will be put in on projects as we go along. A lot of those are already committed for the ATC and the Career Center in Berea. So as we move through those projects, you'll see the balances come down, but that accounts for a big part of it. As well, we talked last time that we had received our first tax payment check, our property taxes of the year. So this time last year, the bills were a little bit late last year going out. So we had not received that big check at that point. So all of that totals up for the difference there in the balances as compared to last year. Of the reconciled balance, the district has $5,740,990.65 in CDs invested, and those rates range from 0.65 to 1%. Those are extremely good rates compared to the national market and compared to the state market. We're well above those. We've negotiated those, and we're getting really good rates right now. Also on your board packet, you did have the balance sheet and the revenue and expense report to review over. I've went through the revenue and expense report to compare our percentages, where we're at now compared to budget, make sure we're staying on track. We are staying on track with our collections of taxes. We're right in line where we should be as compared to last year. And all of our expenditures seem to be tracking really well as compared to our budget, and we seem to be doing really well there. One other item that I did want to mention, we had a bond sale. If you remember last board meeting, you all approved for us to do a refinancing of a bond. We were halfway through that bond, which bond terms are 20 years. So at the 10-year mark, we qualified to do a refinancing. That sale happened this week. The projection at the time, we were projected to save about $313,000, I think, based on how the market was. Thanks to the board's foresight and administration, Dr. Gillum and others, of just making sure that this is a very, very financially sound organization and always looking to the future, we received an extremely good rate on this bond sale. We actually got a 1.05% on the refi. That rate generated a $482,316 savings over the next 10 years for our district. So it increased our savings by $168,000 over what we had been projecting. So it's very good news, and anytime we have the option to refund an outstanding bond and try to have a savings like that, we will bring it before the board to try and take advantage of that. That's my finance report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Wow, incredible job on that refinancing. That is phenomenal, especially in a time where we have no idea what our budget cuts are going to be. That is phenomenal. So thank you all so very much for that, Mr. Woods. That is great news. Does anybody else have any other questions for me? Oops, I hit my microphone.
I just want to say thanks to Mr. Woods and Dr. Gillum for being able to look ahead and get these rates for us and save the district this much money. You know, we're trying to use the taxpayers' money as best we can. If we can save, $400-something thousand, that's extremely beneficial to our community and our kids. So I appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Okay. All right. If we don't have any other questions, I need a motion to approve our finance reports as presented.
So moved.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. So we have a motion by Mrs. Brock and a second by Mrs. Coyle. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? All right. All right. On to the next item. It looks like Dr. Gillum, superintendent's report.
All right. Well, thank you. Well, first, I want to mention, this meeting, a lot of folks out there may have seen this meeting posted as a special meeting. Just make sure everyone understands and is clear on that. The board is organized each calendar year. So each calendar year, we select a chair and a vice chair, and we also select those meeting dates. If you'll notice on our consent agenda, we approved that board schedule for 2021. And so since the first meeting, we have to do all of those things. The first meeting of each calendar year is always posted as a special meeting. So I just wanted folks to know and kind of understand what that is and the purpose behind that. And speaking of that organization of the new board each year, I would like to thank Mrs. Burford for serving as our board chair for the past year. You've done a wonderful job. And congratulations to Mrs. Cobb as well as she comes on as our new board chair. And I just want to mention also that I appreciate the collaborative attitude that our board members embrace. Everyone here wants to do the best for students, for our staff, for our community. And this, the selection of a board chair, is a great example of sharing leadership, encouraging each other to serve as chair, vice chair, and so forth, fosters that environment that makes us a better team and a better Madison County. So certainly I want to just again say thank you. With it being Board Recognition Month as well, congratulations. Thank you for your service. And again, this is just another great reason why you're deserving that recognition during Board Recognition Month. So thank you guys. Next, I want to make sure I mention vaccines. Vaccines are coming our way soon. There was an announcement this afternoon that school staff should be vaccinated by the dates thrown out there. There were 2 or 3 of them. I'm not really clear on whether they said February the 1st or the week of February the 1st. But regardless, it's on its way. It's coming soon. Now, vaccine distribution across our state, it has been a logistical challenge, but we expect very soon to be notified of who the vaccinator will be for our teachers and our staff across Madison County. We've not been given that information yet, but as soon as we do, as soon as we know who that is, we will work with that vaccinator, that provider, to expedite the process and get our people vaccinated just as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And just so you know, numbers here, we had over 1,100 employees sign up for the vaccine. So it's going to be a pretty big undertaking to get everyone vaccinated. And then along that same line, you may have heard in the executive order that was issued previously, in order for us to come back in person at some point, we have to be able to give our employees who fall into that high-risk category an alternative or a virtual work assignment. And so I just wanted to update the board. At this time, we have had 32 employees request an accommodation. That was earlier today. We may have had a few more this afternoon, but earlier today we had 32 out of our nearly 2,000 employees that had requested some type of accommodation. Now, this is a low number, but it's also indicative that we've been making accommodations for our employees since June. Every building and every department has worked with 3 to 5 employees at least before the year ever began to adjust their work environment. And this is a commitment that we made and we continue to make to our staff members. And we appreciate their work. We appreciate so much the work of everyone across our district. We're amazed at the things that they've been able to accomplish through these unprecedented circumstances. And we want to say thank you to them once more. And then the other thing I want to mention, the KSBA, we've mentioned them a time or two tonight, but KSBA, Kentucky School Boards Association, has an initiative right now, along with our educational co-ops across the state, where they are encouraging districts to share what is good or what is working in our public schools. And they're doing this specifically through a social media campaign it's tagged hashtag telling our story. And through that social media campaign, they've asked school leaders across the state to identify specific things in their district that give evidence to the power of public schools. And so with that, I will share mine. The power of public schools is evident in our reading recovery program. And I think certainly we saw that tonight in Madison County. We saw that tonight when Amy did her presentation. And again, I want to say thank you to them and to everything that they've done. And that is my superintendent report. Thank you, guys.
All right, great. Thank you, Dr. Gillum. All right. And also to another shout out to you, Dr. Smith, and that reading recovery. That's great. Do we have any comments from the board?
I'd just like to say thank you to Samantha for this last year serving as our board chair. Every time I've called or texted, she has answered immediately or called me right back or immediately texted me back. And I appreciate that from her and taking the time to hear my comments or my concerns and working with all the other board members. And I think she's been a good person for all of us to lead us in what we've done this year, because it's been challenging at times. So I just want to say thank you to Ms. Burford. Lori, look forward to this year. I'm sure we'll have a lot of conversations. So I appreciate everyone. And I just want to say thank you to our teachers for coming back. You know, I've been going by some of the schools and see the parking lots full. It's good to know the teachers are back in the buildings and teaching our kids. And I've seen some of our teachers post things on Twitter about things they've done in the classroom. And I really enjoy seeing the excitement that they do on their Zoom meetings to try to keep the kids engaged and learning. So I appreciate them a lot. That's all I have.
I want to say thank you to Samantha as well. I know we bore that out, but I do think Samantha did a great job. And I really was impressed in how she was able to interact with our viewers and the people in attendance. I feel like she was very good at that, and I'm sure her job has much to do with that, but it really was impressive just to sit and watch how she conducted the meetings. And I do say you did a great job. And look forward to Ms. Cobb and Brandon to do their best.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? All right. I just want to say a couple of things real quick. Thank you for the privilege of serving as this chair. I have incredible big shoes to fill, but I will do my best, and I know we'll all work together as a team. So if I trip and stumble, there's going to be 4 other people there helping to pick me up. But I also want to tell our students we are super excited to get back into hybrid starting on Wednesday. I know my girls are glad to be getting back in person. So we look forward to getting back into the classrooms on Wednesday. And kind of on the heels of Dr. Gillum's comment about the vaccines in our staff, I want to just say a special thank you to Sharon Barnes and our nursing staff. I know they've been very involved in coordinating and working with the vaccine distribution, but they have been super busy behind the scenes, doing all of our contact tracing on behalf of the Madison County Health Department. We basically have our own little health department with Sharon and her staff. So they have been doing all of the contact tracing for all of our students and all of our staff. And I know they've been super busy, and I just want to thank them and tell them we really appreciate how hard they have been working. So, all right, anybody else?
I want to say one quick thing. I thank you all for thinking of me, and I'm very appreciative, because you guys know I always get nervous before I do this. It doesn't matter how many times I do it, but thank you very much. And I have actually learned from the best. We have 2 school board members that have been doing this, and I'm telling you, there's not a day that I didn't call them that they didn't have answers for me. So Becky and Beth, they are the best. We've got such a wonderful team, and Lori, Brandon, you guys know that we will be here this year for both of you. And hopefully we can get back to in-person meetings very soon, because I'm looking forward to celebrating our students when we bring them in every month. It's my favorite time of our board meetings, when we get to celebrate them and watch them, do their thing for us in our showcase. So, but congratulations, Lori and Brandon. I'm excited. It's going to be a great year.
Thank you. I do miss having those kids in too, watching them do their thing. So, all right. Well, if nobody has anything else, we are done. We just need a motion to adjourn.
I can make the motion to adjourn.
All right. Do I have a second? Is that Mr. Rutherford? Okay. Yes. So motion by Mrs. Burford and a second by Mr. Rutherford to adjourn our meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? No. All right. All right. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much. And we will see you soon. Maybe.
Great job, Lori. Thank you, Samantha, for your service this past year. Lori did great. Thanks.
Lori, you did great.
Great meeting.
See everybody sometime tomorrow morning, board members.
Thank you all.
You're our goodies. All right. Bye, you guys.
See you.